We have an exciting segment of sports coming your way, so let's get right to it.
The Atlantic 10 preseason polls and honors were announced yesterday. The St. Bonaventure men's team was ranked 5th, while VCU was ranked the top of the conference. Sophomores Kyle Lofton and Oshuna Shunahi would win team awards. Lofton was voted to the second team, while Shunahi would be selected to the third team and all-defensive team. The Bonnies are set to tip off with an exhibition game against Alfred.
Thatcher plans to head back to Puerto Rico in November to rejoin the team. Thursday, Bonna's women's soccer faced off against A-10 rival Dayton. Let's take a look at the highlights.
Women's basketball teams hosted Media Day on Wednesday, and SBU TV Sports went to Media Day and caught up with both teams. First was the women's team, who talked about their goals for this upcoming season.
The 3-game win streak into its semifinal matchup tonight. They look to continue their playoff run as our Matt Shalou has more.
Last week, the Olean football team upset.
Our Matthew Shallow talked to a couple students who are headed to the game this Saturday against Rutgers in Toronto. Let's take a look.
As part of the 100th season of
former St. Bonaventure rugby captain and Division 1A East MVP Eamon Matthews has signed a 1-year contract with the Atlanta professional rugby team. Matthews has spent time in the 404 Atlanta development team looking for a shot at the pros. Matthews mentioned to me how Coach Andrew Tui and assistant coach Danny Neighbor have impacted his life as a man and as a rugby player. Matthews will be looking to make an impact on the team as their first regular season game will be on February 9th against the Utah Warriors. Thanks for everybody tuning in to SBU TV Sports. Tossing it back to studio.
Thanks, Brennan and Ethan, and welcome everybody to SBU TV Sports. I'm Ryan Bolin. To kick off our sports segment, let's go to our 4th installment of the player profile as I sit down with Bonna's women's soccer player Mia Thatcher as she gives us some exciting news about her recent trip to Puerto Rico. I'm sitting down with St. Bonaventure women's soccer sophomore midfielder Mia Thatcher. Thank you for joining us here at the player profile, Mia.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Really appreciate this opportunity.
You were just in Puerto Rico last week trying out for the Puerto Rican women's national soccer team. Describe how that experience was.
It was just amazing and breathtaking. Honestly, it was such an honor to be there.
Do you have a time frame from when you're going to hear from the Puerto Rican coaching staff?
So I actually did make the team. It was probably like the happiest time of my life, honestly. I don't think happiness can describe like what I was feeling.
You also tried out for the national team back in 2017, but unfortunately it was canceled due to Hurricane Maria. Describe how that experience was different from the one that you just had.
I was more prepared, I would say, like the second time than going into the first time, and like more ready, and just like I appreciated it more.
What are your personal goals for the season?
Personally, like I want to make A-10s because like just to be a part of that, like St. Bonaventure women's soccer like makes A-10s, like that would be huge.
Thank you, Mia, for taking time with us here at the player profile.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Bonus on 3, 1, 2, 3. Bonus!
Thatcher plans to head back to Puerto Rico in November to rejoin the team. Thursday, Bonna's women's soccer faced off against A-10 rival Dayton. Let's take a look at the highlights.
The game between the Bonnies and Flyers was rainy throughout. It was the Flyers who had the fast start and got on the board in the 17th minute with a spectacular leaping header from Dayton's leading goal scorer, Alex Goins. Throughout the game, the Bonnies had limited opportunities to score as they were outshot 13-7, but they came close a couple of times. In the 20th minute, Maddie Mason had a header of her own that just went wide, and in the final seconds, the Bonnies had a rush and corner kick, but were not able to capitalize. They ended up losing this one 1-0 to move to 4-7-1 on the season.
Coach Brzezinski and his team will be traveling next to Missouri to take on St. Louis University Sunday, October 6th. The St. Bonaventure men's golf team is in Ireland this weekend as they faced off against Trinity College of Dublin, which was played at Portminock Golf Club. They are also playing at other top-notch courses throughout the country of Ireland, such as Waterville, Tralee, Doonbeg, and Island Club. Follow our social media pages for updates. Thank you for tuning in to SBU TV Sports. I'm Ryan Bolin. Back to you, Brennan and Ethan.
Good morning, hello, and welcome back to SBU TV. I'm Nicholas Gao with your SBU TV Sports. Some of the most notable media faces to ever cover Bonaventure basketball sat down to make a list of the greatest players to ever come through St. Bonaventure. SBU Athletics released a video in November with the panel featuring their choices for the top 20 players to ever wear the brown and white. I spoke with two members of the panel about what went into their decision. I had the opportunity to sit down with two Bonaventure alums, J.P. Butler, sports editor for the Olean Times-Herald, and Mike Vaccaro, a sports columnist for the New York Post. Both had their reasons of picking each player and how each player differentiated from others.
You know, the thing for me is there was a pretty ironclad top three because of just what these guys meant to their program and to the program in their era.
Luckily, all the guys on our list not only were great players, but they all had significant moments in the history of the program.
Both had individual lists and both agreed on their top three players: Bob Lanier, Tom Stiff, and Andrew Nicholson.
It's going to be hard to argue that Bob Lanier doesn't belong on that list, or that Tom Stiff doesn't belong on that list, or that Andrew Nicholson doesn't belong on that list. And then it's a matter of taking what you know about the team in the context of what the history is and going from there.
Bob Lanier obviously took the program to its highest point, the Final Four, greatest player in program history, Basketball Hall of Famer. Tom Stiff, number 2, because before there was Lanier, it was actually the Stiff brothers who put the program on the map first in the late 50s, early 60s with reaching the NCAA tournament for the first time. Andrew Nicholson, number 3, because in a lot of ways he was sort of the savior of the program when Bona basketball was kind of left for dead after the academic scandal in the early to mid-2000s.
The stage is set. Saturday at 2:30, the St. Bonaventure men's basketball team will be celebrating 100 years of history. This year marks 50 years since a team led by NBA Hall of Famer Bob Lanier went all the way to the Final Four. 10 of the 20 members of the selected all-time team list will be in attendance for the game. After being honored on Saturday, they will be heading to the New Era Field to be recognized during the pregame matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. Staying in Buffalo, the Bills are currently circling the wagon on the NFL with a 9-3 record, the best record since 1996. After a statement performance on Thanksgiving against the Dallas Cowboys, the NFL has flexed the Sunday night schedule and has put the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Bills on Sunday Night Football on December 15th on NBC. That's all the time we have for SBU TV Sports. I want to quickly say thank you to the staff and the crew at SBU TV for another amazing semester. Working with you all has been an honor. Our crew at SBU TV Sports has done amazing work, and we want to wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. For one final time, I'm Nicholas Gallo for SBU TV Sports. Tossing it back to studio. Welcome back, everybody, to SBU TV. I'm Nicholas Gallo here with SBU TV Sports. Our Chris Neverett sat down with freshman lacrosse player Brady Vibrans as he recently just traveled to the Netherlands to try out for the Dutch national team.
Hey, thanks for taking the time to come out today. I know you got a busy schedule. No. So you just got back. You were in the Netherlands. You want to just elaborate on what you had going on for you there?
Yeah. I was born in the Netherlands. My whole dad's side of the family lives there. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to represent part of who I am.
Is there anything that you could maybe bring back to the Bonaventure team with dealing with these professionals?
Yeah, I would just say like just growing the game, like seeing like how they took the sport and how they're growing it there.
Is that something that you expect to hear word back from the national team anytime soon?
Officially out here February, but I mean they gave me pretty strong indications that I'll be on the team.
You're obviously pretty highly touted out of the state of Arizona. You were nominated for Athlete of the Year there. What specifically made you move across the country and decide to come to Little Olean, New York?
And everyone was just so welcoming, and Coach Randy Mearns, being Team Canada head coach and just who he is, he's an unbelievable guy. So I knew there was something special here to grow on.
I'm glad you decided to stop out for us today.
Oh yeah, of course. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
He does this all the time. Hang out by Brady.
Our Matthew Shalou sat down with freshman star Justin Winston as he came up with a big game in Toronto as the St. Bonaventure men's basketball team got their first win of the season.
All right, I'm sitting down with freshman forward Justin Winston of the men's basketball team. Thank you for sitting down with us, taking the time for this interview. I'm going to get right into it. Being that you are a freshman, new guy on the team, how do you feel that the older guys on the team have helped you so far in the young season?
They've basically just been like big brothers. Anything I need, I just go to them. And yeah, they just just teach me.
Going back to the game on Saturday, obviously on the big stage against Rutgers, you scored 19 points. Talk about how you were able to have that much success, like when you knew you were, getting going, when you felt right out on the court.
I kind of was just waiting till my name been called the whole time. I know against like Ohio, I didn't really play, so I just been waiting. It's just been a time that I've been waiting for, and I was just comfortable out there on the court.
All right, I like the honesty. All right, that's all the questions we have time for. Thank you, Justin. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Former St. Bonaventure rugby captain and Division I-A East MVP Eamon Matthews has signed a one-year contract with the Atlanta professional rugby team. Matthews has spent time in the 404 Atlanta development team looking for a shot at the pros. Matthews had mentioned to me how Coach Andrew Tui and assistant coach Danny Neighbor have impacted his life as a man and as a rugby player. Matthews will be looking to make an impact on the team as their first regular season game will be on February 9th against the Utah Warriors. Thanks for everybody tuning in to SBU TV Sports. Tossing it back to studio.